Okay, so we are starting a recording session. Let's see. So this session is going to be on tsuru, and it's being demoed by Lakshmi.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, hi Lakshmi.
Hi, Amir.
Yeah, so I started recording, and
Okay.
yeah, it's working right now. Yeah,
So I'm starting to share my screen now.
sure.
Hold on. Hello. So can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Cool. Okay, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, fantastic. I have my own tsuru setup in AWS, and I've connected to RDS DB service. So I'll just give a brief walkthrough, and then I'll take in questions. Okay. So the first command which I've done is I've added a target. So this is Accelerant's tsuru setup, and this is my private setup. So I've switched the target to box, which is the name of my private setup. This can be anything. You can switch between two targets. Typically, this helps in having your own local setup, similar to HTDocs, where you can run a different set of apps, and then you can use a production target to deploy it, or it can even be a production remote. The first thing you have to do is do a tsuru login. So I'll log out first. So if you do tsuru login, like I mentioned earlier in the channel, we have enabled GitHub OAuth support. So you can log in using GitHub, or you can even set the authentication to native authentication, where you'll be provided a username and a password. Once you're logged in, you'll be able to list down all the apps in the site using the command tsuru apps list. Sorry, app list. So this is the name of the application. This is the URL. I've not mapped any CNAME with my tsuru setup, so it creates a noip.io address with my static IP. But this can be anything. This can be like projspace.com, and then your app will be drupal-1.projspace.com. These two are actually apps which act as a service. I'll explain later what that is. So this is the number of units which are deployed for each of the app. We can add or remove these units, and once we disable the app, the units will be 0. We can even map these to specific CNAMEs like scout.org or legacy.com by using the command tsuru CNAME. There will be a command called CNAME add, CNAME remove. This can be done per app. And there is even support for adding HTTPS domains since 0.12, which is what we are running in all our servers right now. So your prerequisite is you should have run and installed tsuru client, which you can download easily for Ubuntu. I'm not sure if I've tested it for Windows or Mac, but you guys can, if you guys want any of these OSs, you can check it. I'm sure it should work because it's written in Go, so it should compile and run anywhere. So the first prerequisite for creating an app is you have to make sure that your platform is already there. Platforms can only be created by admins, so you can check whether your platform is there by giving tsuru platform list. So I've got Drupal, Go, and Python already installed in my setup. If you're an admin, you can easily add a platform. You just have to specify the name of the Docker file, and it'll add the platform. It's a one-time task. So once you've installed the Drupal platform, you can just go on deploying apps in that platform. So the first step is to create an app in a platform. So the command you give is tsuru app create. So, it takes a couple of arguments at minimum, the app name, and then the platform name where you want to create that app. So we'll create a simple Drupal app, tsuru app. Please feel free to interrupt if you guys have any questions. Something as the latest question. I'm just creating. Your app name can accommodate any special character. It can have hyphens, underscores, dots, or whatever. My platform name is Drupal. Once I do this, it gives me a URL for a Git remote, which is specific to that app. So I have to add this remote to my Drupal repository. So let me download a brand new Drupal site first. I've already downloaded it here. If you untar it, you will get these things. You have to make a few changes to your code repo before you deploy in tsuru. One is the tsuru.yml file. At least for Drupal, this is mandatory because it specifies a lot of configuration variables, parameters for your Drupal site. Let me just walk through this briefly. It's got YML syntax. So there are some options which are common for all PHP applications, and then there are some options which are under the PHP Drupal key, like what version of Drush you want in that container, and what Drupal profile you have to install, and then if you're doing a site install, what extra options you have to pass for it. And as you guys will be knowing, we can deploy PHP apps on Apache as well as Nginx, and then you can specify what all Apache modules you want to enable. Because we do URL rewriting, we enable mod rewrite for Drupal. This is the default setup for Drupal. You can even have an Nginx front end for PHP. You can even specify your PHP version here. And the hooks build is common for all platforms. You can list down commands here which will be run every time you deploy an app. For example, Drush clear cache will go here. So every time you deploy something, you do a Drush CC. It becomes second nature. So that's about the tsuru.yml file. Tsuru opens up this file, reads all the configuration, and then runs it on your container every time you deploy this. And the platform code is intelligent enough not to run this every time you deploy, because these things erase the DB and all that. So it only detects the changes and then runs those things which are in the hook build. So that's an implementation detail. You need not worry about that. And because we'll be making changes to settings.php, we'll have to whitelist it and git ignore. I've actually commented it out so that git ignore doesn't ignore settings.php. And you have to make a small change in settings.php. Similar to all cloud-based PaaS, you will have to include a local settings, prod level settings and dev level settings, like how we do in previous versions of Projspace. So you have to add a settings.local PHP. Which gets your MySQL details from the environment. I'll show in short while how these variables get populated in your deployment environment. So that's pretty much it. So now let's deploy this in production. So now we have the code, and we need to add a database to this setup. So the syntax for that is tsuru service add. You have to give a service name. Service name can be anything, but just for convention's sake, we name the service and the app the same. And the type of service is MySQL RDS. You can see a list of services here. And only admins can create new services. Other non-admin users can actually consume them and create new service instances. As you can see, there is already an instance of MySQL RDS running called Drupal 1. So I'm creating another instance of MySQL RDS. So what the MySQL RDS service does is it creates a database in an AWS RDS setup, and then exposes some critical variables like the database name, the port, the username, and the password. So all these details are abstracted out. So we just passes them from one interface to another using env variables alone. So you need not actually key in or store the database or any other sensitive information anywhere in your hard disk or file or anything. Sorry, the syntax is the other way around. You added a service. There's one more thing which you have to remember to do. You have to bind the service to the new app which you created. So the command is tsuru service bind service name, app name. Before you bind the service, you will see that there are only a limited number of variables for that app. You can do that by using tsuru. Again, we get so there are only 3 variables now. Now, after you bind the service, you will have these new variables exposed in your app. So now, if you rerun the env get for app, you got new variables. Again, these are not exposed anywhere, so you need not know about that. It's the data is hidden from all users. Tsuru manages it on its own. So let's go ahead and deploy this. Now that we have a database in the code ready, before that you have to add this remote. You can give any name, tsuru or whatever. So git push tsuru. Get a branch name, or if you're deploying a feature branch, it will be master colon branch name. The first push will take a little more time because it's going to tar the whole repository, create an archive, and then deploy it. The subsequent pushes, it just takes the diff, compresses it, and then sends it. So it's pretty fast. You guys with me so far? Any questions?
Yeah, Lakshmi, I had a question. You created an RDS MySQL instance?
I created an RDS instance and then coupled it with database generation service.
Okay,
That's a
so
one-time task.
okay, okay.
So that's going to serve for all. Like the only things you have to do is you have to create a new app, and then you have to create a new service instance using that service, RDS service, and then you have to bind this instance to the app, and then you have to do a push. The subsequent, like if you add a module and then do a commit, you just have to do a push in order to do all these things. I'll just show that.
Okay.
You can even have different services. For example, I can create a memcache service which will create which will run on your tsuru node machine. When I ask for a memcache instance, it's going to create a Docker container and then expose all the variables related to memcache through that container. So if I create a memcache container, I'll specify the image as the memcache latest image from Docker registry. It's going to fetch that. So the idea here is we can add any number of services, any kind of services. We can have a replica of the production. Like for example, last Friday or Saturday, we had this issue in legacy where memcache was not happening. So in order to debug it, we had to borrow the Acquia dev environment because we couldn't reproduce it in our locals. So a Dockerized setup is pretty useful in such cases where you can create a memcache service instance and then bind it to your Drupal app and then dispose it if you don't need it. Let me show the output of the deploy. The first time it's pretty verbose because it creates a platform image, it creates an app image, and then it reuses it in the subsequent pushes. So this is the output of the Drush PM list which I gave after the build. So the other thing which I've changed in the configuration is I've enabled persistence for the Drupal file system so that what happens in the background when you redeploy an app is tsuru wipes out that container and creates a new container and then puts the latest Git archive there. So in this process, what happens is for CMSs like Drupal, the persistent file system is there, shares the same path as the app code. They are not isolated. So if you don't use a shared file system configuration, it's going to be wiped off. So tsuru has this shared FS configuration where it mounts the selected part of your Drupal files directly to the tsuru node itself, so that the data doesn't become ephemeral after you do a redeploy. I'll just demo that feature as well. So now we have this deployed. The workflow is very similar to Heroku. The output is also very similar to Heroku. So if you do tsuru app list, you can see that Drupal 739 is running. You can even change the specifics like admin password, the admin username and all that in the tsuru.yml. So the default one is admin. I've documented this in the GitHub README. I'll share that with you guys. So let's go ahead and hit run admin. Okay, now I'll add a few nodes just to show that the file system is persistent after a push. You guys with me so far?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to add an image. Hold on. Okay. This is through uh, um, Docker container node. So everything is stored in mount on a per app basis. So if I cd to the app Drupal 739 inside field image, we have the image which we just uploaded. So if you do a redeploy, it doesn't get piped off. It loads it from here. Okay. Now let me make a small change, like download a module or something. Okay. Then do push again. The subsequent pushes will be faster because it only downloads the delta of that's it. We've deployed it. So you can refresh this page and then see that everything is intact. No data has changed. And then you can even see that in the modules list we have tokens. That's about it. So any questions so far? There are plenty of other tsuru commands. The main thing as far as Drupal is concerned is you'll have to add a tsuru.yml. You have to remember to add a local settings. To answer your question of how to deploy a feature branch, we do it like this. Let's say that I create, in essence, a feature branch is a separate app. You guys agree with me?
Yes.
Any discrepancies there? No, right? So even Heroku deals that way only. So if you create a new feature branch, you'll have to create a new app, a new service instance, bind the instance to the app, and then create a new remote for that branch, and then push to that remote from that branch. So that's how you go about feature branches. And one thing which is pending is downloading the data or a snapshot of a site, which is a work in progress. I'm working on that. So I'm writing a tsuru plugin which will download the files and the DB for a given app, and then it will put it somewhere like S3 or something. Medam, do you have any comments there? Should we use S3?
Yeah, S3, not really actually having experimented there.
One sec guys, there's somebody at the door.
Madam, you're very low.
Now?
Yeah, a little better, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was Lakshmi asking me? It was about S3 persistence, right?
Medansh, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, what was Lakshmi asking me? It was about S3 persistence, right?
Yeah, he was asking whether you have any concern with us saving databases to S3.
No, not really.
Hello? Yeah. Hello?
Yes, Lakshmi, go ahead.
Yeah, I was speculating about using S3 for this. And the other improvement is every time you need to run like 3 commands to create a Drupal app and deploy it. So I'm going to encapsulate all the 3 into a single plugin. So if you just say create a Drupal app name and then the Git repository, it's going to clone it, create a DB instance, bind it, and then run it. So those two improvements are pending. The same goes for WordPress, but I've not tried it for WordPress, and same ditto for Drupal 8 as well. So these three things have been tried and tested. There are a couple of things more which we need to do. One is run it for a robust, large site, a real-time site. That will again be done only after we do the export import thing.
Hey,
So,
Lakshmi, have you given any thought to mapping the same Git repo URL to multiple apps?
that relation already exists in the database.
Yeah, I checked it, but so did you do any work around it?
No, what I'm planning to do is I'm going to hack the tsuru endpoint to expose this data. Like we can add apps with a parameter for a Git repo or app name, and then it will show a mapping of the Git repo, and then what all deploys it has got, something like that. That is doable. That's one thing which I have in mind.
Okay.
I think for launching V0.1, the UI is not a mandate, because as an end user or a consumer for this whole system, you just need to download the tsuru client application. You can do dozen things with that. Like for example, tsuru app list. If you are the admin, you can manage users here. You can do all kinds of CRUD here. You can set environment variables. You can delete DB instances. You can create new service instances and whatnot. So I thought we are good to go for O.1 without the UI as well. So what do you guys think? We can have the UI as a target in the later version, like O.2 or something.
Maybe the whole thing which we are building is the UI, right? So all the thing which we have discussed right now is what exists in tsuru.
Okay.
So
no, the thing here is to ship early and ship often. So let's roll it out to the people. Let them start using this. We'll document this, and then we will add features in upcoming versions. The GitHub login is also resolved, so
yeah,
we need not even migrate data.
So, but the right immediate thing which people will encounter is like sync DB and sync files. How are we going to solve that problem?
Yeah, that's what I told, right? These two plugins are going to do the trick. So there'll be a plugin for exporting a site and then importing a site, and then we can club both and then call it clone. So if we have these plugins in place, I think it's in a pretty usable state, at least from a dev perspective, which is our focus audience.
Yeah, that's true. But not sure. Maybe Ankur would be the right person to take the call on.
Yeah, let him take the call. That's what I had in mind today. So let's go ahead and release this. Let people start using it, and then because UI is a mutually exclusive component, right? I mean, the app can live with it or without it.
As per what they are already accustomed to in the Projspace, will they be comfortable using this right away?
Yeah, this interface is an industry standard. I mean, this is how Heroku works and all that. I think they should be good. I mean, it has got all the things you want from a PaaS. Like, you want to know the status of an app, you want to add more timers to an app, or you want to bind the settings, unbind it, take a backup, restore. Everything is there. So once we club it with S3, I think it's good to use.
Okay.
And then we can add more features as we go along in .2, .3 and all. We can just schedule a next release date and then see what features we'll be adding. We'll just take 2 or at most 3 features and then add it, and then we'll issue a change log and advertising what all has been changed and all that. I think that should be the way to go, rather than waiting and then releasing everything. What do you guys think? Vishnu, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that we should develop it incrementally. We should. I mean, guys, there are guys who will be very much interested to try this out. So that is there for given. I mean, I just gave the link of the Hangout very late to Alan. Otherwise, he would have joined a bit more because he was also looking forward to this. So yeah, that's fine. I agree. I mean, although now it's not just people like Alan who are okay with the command line interface who are working. I mean, there are QA guys and front end guys and others as well. So they will actually be comfortable, as Medam says, right? They're used to the Projspace UI of deploying and things like that. So the sooner the better. But that need not stop actually releasing this from for people to try out. So that is fine. I just had one question. So when we actually were discussing about the first implementation, we were seeing some limitations, right? Like I don't remember exactly what those things were. I mean, about scaling up or a couple of limitations we were discussing the first implementation. So this way of doing it, does that solve all those issues, or we still have some unknowns, or how is it?
Right now, the major blocking thing was the persistent file system. That is resolved,
Okay.
at least for now. So we are yet to try out huge deployments. Like if you have a 64 GB file system, I theoretically it is supposed to work on paper, but we have not tried it yet. That's again the main motive behind launching the O.1. Somebody will come up with something, a real scaling issue, like they would have added some legacy project. Like even I expect it'll hit the ceiling when I add scouts or something like that, and then I'll have to see how we handle this.
Okay. So those things are yet to be tested out. Okay.
Yeah. So the idea here is I'm not totally discounting that the fact that we need a UI. We really need it. In fact, I was actually championing for a very sleek UI. You guys know that. So let's target a fortnightly release where we ship something or the other. We add some feature, at least one feature every fortnight.
Sure, I am okay with it.
So Ankur's idea was we release something by October end. We can even push it further. We can release the current version in another week or so after I develop those set plugins, and then we'll go and hit for the other main component like UI or something.
Yeah, sure. Just one thing, Lakshmi, can you actually show that tsuru YML file and do probably one more deploy or something just for Alan when we looked out, so join just now.
Yeah, sure.
Those documents. And you want to see that again, Alan? I think you missed it.
Yes.
The tsuru YML is already documented in the tsuru Drupal. I'll just show that as well. I'll be sharing that. The base builder is actually the repo which I forked from tsuru. It's got Docker and other deploy commands for various popular platforms like Java, Node.js.
Lakshmi, you have shared the screen yet? Can't see.
My bad. Hold on. Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
Cool. So the base builder is a repo where we store all the platform Docker files and deploy scripts. It's got platforms for already popular frameworks like Node.js, Python, Ruby, Go, and all that. It's even got exotic stuff like Lisp and all that. Drupal was added by us. There is a README here which says what are all configurations you can take it. It supports Apache and Nginx currently, and it supports various PHP versions. I think difference in PHP versions causes a lot of bugs and then deployment issues. So we want the production ENV to be at par with the development ENV as much as possible, or rather the other way around. So you can refer to this README if you want a detailed know-how of what all to configure. There is even a model Drupal app called tsuru Drupal. Hold on. This is just Drupal 739, the latest, with the tsuru.yml and then the settings file. This is an older version, so I've got the newer version. You can specify what version of Brush you want to run, what profile you want to install, and then what all extra options you have to give to Brush site install. So this is run one time when you create deployment for the first time, and then you can enable as much as Apache modules you want here. I'm even planning to add more stuff here, like setting up the memory limit and then adding extra PHP libraries and all that. But again, that is not a showstopper, so I stopped developing that. You can do a Drush CC here, or if you want to create new users, next time you deploy, you can add the Drush command here. The idea behind tsuru.yml is to serve as a app template. It will contain more metadata, like what the site is, what all features it contains, who created this and all that. But that's a later release. It's not a showstopper. I've just added the bare essentials required for YML. It's modeled after the Heroku's app.json schema. App.json schema is a schema file. It's a declarative file which stores all the information about an app, like what platform it is running, who deployed it, what is the app all about, some description about the app, and then what all modules or dependencies it has got, what all services it has got, and all that. So tsuru.yml is something which is modeled precisely after that. It contains some enhancements present in the original tsuru implementation, which I am steering actually. So that's about the YML file. And then the other major change which you have to make is you have to whitelist your settings.php from git ignore. Otherwise, Git is going to ignore it, like the file says. This is done because we add per env settings very similar to Projspace V1 because this is considered a good practice. We don't want to step on different deployment stores. So we have a dev settings and then a production settings and then a tsuru settings. So in this local settings file, this will be the same for all Drupal apps because it just gets the env variable from the service which is binded to your app. So you will not change anything here. You just have to do a get env. That's it. And it's pretty much the same for all platforms and all CMSs. Even in WordPress, you'll have a wp-config.php where you'll do a get env of MySQL user password, blah, blah, blah. The same works for Django, Ruby on Rails, any platform. The idea here is we are there to 12-factor standards where sensitive information, even your salted hash will be an env variable which will be generated by tsuru. It's got a salted hash generator. So everything is tossed around only as env variables, nothing will be added. So that's the idea. These are the two major modifications you have to make if you are hosting a Drupal app. So you can take in any legacy app which is hosted somewhere like Acquia or Pantheon. You just have to add these two changes and then you have to do a git push after adding them. That's about it. This has been tested with Drupal 7, Drupal 8, Drupal 6 and WordPress. So these are our target platforms for O.1. We'll be adding, Django is known to work on record, but I have not tried any big apps so far. So any questions you guys have on Drupal deployment?
Yeah, I have a list of questions. I don't know if I should go ahead now or maybe sometime.
Yeah, you can go ahead now.
Okay, so yeah, can you just resume your screen share, please?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Alan, did that answer your questions? I mean, whatever I should.
Yes, I have a fair idea.
Okay. I'll anyways be documenting these things. So. Okay, go ahead, Devu.
Yeah, so let's take Alan as our first user, and let's add him as a new user and go ahead and do all of these.
Sure. Okay. Then can you give me your email?
I can even give you a first test project as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, it's to tsuru user create. Right now it is set to GitHub auth. So let me change it and reboot. Hold on. Mehta, you know how to switch this, right?
Sorry, switch what?
Between OAuth and native authentication.
No. I just only played with the native authentication.
So you just have to hold on. So if this is OAuth only, all these things under the OAuth key take effect. It's native, they are ignored. Then you'll have to restart. Alan, can you give me your email?
Okay, student.
Okay. So I'm giving Alan 123 as the password. So if you do a tsuru admin user list, it is not the admin. So when I create Alan, it's logged in as Alan now. It's logged out of my user ID. You want to make me make Alan as the admin, Devru?
No, that is where I have questions. So I don't want to make him an admin. So if he's a new user, right? So what can he really do?
Okay, I'll log in as Alan.
Is there something I can do from my machine?
Yeah, you have the tsuru thing installed.
No, I don't have it.
I mean, you can install it if you want, and then create it.
No, I meant, can I log into this instance and maybe?
Yeah, you can do that.
You can do that actually.
Installing your machine.
You just have to install the tsuru client. Okay, the idea here is for a user to do something in tsuru, anything, he should be a part of a team. So by default, when you create a tsuru setup, only the admin team is created. So for example, in Accelerant, it will be like squad 1, squad 2, squad 3 and all that. So let's create a team now.
Sorry. I understand that there is this default admin group that is created, and unless a user is added to this admin group, he's like virtually, or in reality, he's useless. I mean, he's not able to do anything. He's not able to see any services or any apps. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. So even if he's added to the admin list, he'll be seeing all the apps that the admin group is able to see and all the services. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So for any new user, he will definitely not be added to this admin group because he's a new user.
It's a privileged group. Yeah.
Correct. So we'll have a new group by say squad 1 or squad 2 as you decided.
Yeah.
Right. So we will probably add Alan to that squad 1 group.
Squad 1. Okay.
Yeah. So any new user, any new random user not from Accelerant, he will be added to which group?
We can configure that in tsuru conf, but
Okay.
by default it is no group, no team.
Right, but if he's in no team, then he's not able to do anything. Right?
Yep, that's the idea. Like for example, a new guy joins our team. Okay,
Right.
he is not given code.projspace.com access the very first day. We take his keys, we give him a username, password, and then we tell him to log in, and then we give him Git access, right?
Okay.
That's the workflow, right? Very similar
Right.
to that. We tell him, we give him username, password, or ideally tell him to log in through GitHub, and we borrow the organization permissions from. Okay, we'll deal with OAuth later. I'll just do the workflow for native now.
Okay.
Okay, now we can seamlessly switch between both, so that is not a problem at all. So let's say the user joins Accelerant. Okay, he has got an email, and then we tell him, okay, why don't you create your user yourself? The idea here is only admins have got the power to create a user, so they create a user, say like foo at accelerant.com, and then they give an initial password and all that, and then we tell him, okay, we created you, and then he logs in and sees that he is not a part of any team, so he cannot do anything, and then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, through the API, even I mean anyone is able to sign up. It doesn't need to be that the admin has to do it. So it is.
No, the problem is if you're a non-admin user in the API, you only do so much activities that you are entitled to. Got it?
Okay, let's say Alan, right? Alan, even if you had not created Alan at accelerant.com, right? He will still be able to create his user himself using the API call.
No, you cannot do that. Tsuru login doesn't. Tsuru user create requires admin access.
Maybe through the command line, but through the API it doesn't. It doesn't require anything at all.
No. In the API you have to only log in, and there is one more endpoint. Only these two endpoints don't require any access token at all. The other things, because they have access to resources, they require auth tokens.
Oh, I see. Maybe it's a bug then because I was able to succeed, but that's okay. That's secondary though.
No, that may be a bug, but the idea is nobody should be able to come in and then create a user ad hoc. That's a security thing.
Oh, okay. Then we won't be able to do it Heroku, right?
Yeah, even in Heroku, what you do is you sign up and then you add your keys and then you start deploying, right?
Correct. If we have to do it like Heroku, sign up, add my keys, then will I be able to do that?
Yeah, you can do that. You have to give a provision in your app for a user to sign up. You get what I'm saying, right? Like in your app, you'll have a sign up link, then you'll have a form, and then people will fill that form. Using whatever values are there in the form, you will create a new user using the API call in the backend, and then tell him that, hey, you've successfully been created. And now the user can do a login from command line.
Correct. And he will be added to which team?
Whatever team you specify in the configuration, right? By default, it is no team.
Right. So here is where the gap is. I mean, I'm not able to understand from which team does he go to by default. So
that you specify when you create a user, right?
Yeah, provided the team is already existing somewhere.
Yes. For every organization or a Tsuru setup, you should have a non-admin team, which has got some minimum privileges like deploy an app or create a service instance. Something very bad. Got it?
Correct, but there is no organization concept in Tsuru, right?
No, there is. There is a concept called team, a concept called pool. Team is more like permission related. Pool is more like squad related. Like there is a team called developer. There is a team. There may be a team called project manager. There may be a team called admin. So if a user joins you by default, he is in the developer bucket. So a developer has got the following privileges. he can create a service instance, and he can create an app instance, and he can bind both of them, and he can deploy to the app. And then there can be a squad lead role, which will actually push any app which anybody has created. No, I cannot, if I'm a default developer bucket, I cannot go and push your app. You got it?
Okay. I mean,
I can draw a matrix and I can share it with you guys.
no, let's go back again. Let's forget about organization for the moment, and let's say I have the UI and I sign up as an individual user. Okay, and there is an admin access token who creates the user in the tsuru server. Okay, and he's added to no team at the moment.
Yeah, currently it is that way.
Right. So for him to do everything himself, like in Heroku, how should he go ahead? He'll probably create a team, right? Which he is not allowed.
No, he won't create a team. When you set up tsuru, okay,
Right.
you'll have to create a default team apart from the admin team. And next time when there is a user create call, we'll pass this team as the parameter, so that the user will be placed in that team.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Clear?
Okay, and yeah, so the next user also who signs up goes to the same team, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
yeah, so any new, so the first user, if he deploys a single app, I mean, if he creates a single app, the second user who is nowhere related to the first user can also see the app, right?
Yep.
So which is not correct.
No, in Heroku, if you deploy an app and then you share it with the world, people will be able to see it, right?
No, so these two guys are not related and they do not share apps with each other. So one is in India, one is in Australia, and they signed up by themselves.
Yeah, they should be able to see it. For example, I attend a startup engineering course and then I deploy my app in Heroku. I want to show it to my grandmom. How will I do that? She should have access to my URL, right?
Correct. I don't want him to see it.
That means you should set some privileges like HD password or something, like how you do in Projspace V2.
No. So maybe I'm not able to say. So there are two random strangers, okay? They log in to our Projspace application. They sign up to our Projspace application, and they're not related at all. Okay. So by default, they both are added to a same team which is already existing in tsuru, correct?
Yes.
And if one of them creates an application, the other is automatically able to see it.
Yeah, they'll be able to see that. They'll be able to see the app in the sense if I go to my list of apps which I've deployed, okay,
Right.
I will only see whatever apps I am in control of. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, but if they both are in the same team, then they are able to see the common apps, correct?
No. You can define the granularity per each. Like if you do get of apps /apps, you'll only see apps which are created by you. You can even set level of granularity to all the apps. Show me all the apps created by the team, something like that.
Okay, so the concept of a team is just to check the ability of the user, but not apps are not shared across the team, right?
Apps are not shared. You can fine tune it. Shared in the sense if we both belong to the same team and we both deploy app A and app B. If I do list of all apps in my dashboard, I will see your app and my app, or I can even configure it just to show my app alone.
Okay.
Both are
Okay.
possible.
Okay. So I want me to just see only my app and not the other person's app.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can find that. The other thing is, I don't know why we would do that in an organizational context. Like for example, this is source only.
No, we're not talking organization at all. We're not talking organization at all at the moment. So, like Heroku, you should be able to create your personal apps which are not visible to anyone unless shared.
Okay, okay. The public URL will be available, except which nothing will be visible.
Correct. Your public URL is available if he knows it, but if not,
Okay.
nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah, that is possible.
That is possible even though they both are in the same team, right?
Yeah, you can control the level of permissions.
Okay. Right. So Alan has onboarded. Alan has joined the default team, which was already created in tsuru. Now,
The organization public. Yeah.
no, public.
Okay.
Yeah. So Alan joined the default team, which was already existing in tsuru, and he's able to create his app. He's able to bind it with a service, and he's able to see the
Deployed app.
the deployed app using TP and all.
Okay.
And when he wants to share it with me, he will add me where?
Okay, you need push access to the app. Is that
Correct.
you guys need to just have a common key.
Okay, we need to have a common.
It only checks for the key.
No, but if I want to share app, I'll just give him my email, and he has his own account, and I tell that I want to share this app with this email address. He gets a notification saying you both have shared access now. He will not be able to push using his key, will he?
Let's take GitHub, okay? So in GitHub, if I want to share my repository with you, how do I do?
Yeah, so you just add me to that repository.
How do I add you?
So you go to settings and you add me as a collaborator, and after which I'm able to push.
That concept is not there in tsuru. There is no thing called a collaborator. It just works on keys. Hold on. Let me check.
That is what I thought as a team. So I thought the collaboration thing is a team thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It just works on keys as of now. But let me see if I can satisfy this use case.
Okay.
But for now, it is supposed to work only via keys. For example, if both you and Alan have a common key,
Right.
and then you upload it, then you both are collaborators for the same app.
Okay. Okay. Now let's come to organization. Okay. So these were two different users, two random users of the same Projspace application.
Okay.
So now in an organization, so Alan, I sent a sign up request to Alan, and Alan has signed up. I add him to squad 1 team.
Okay.
And Medhamsh had joined Accelerant, and I add him to the squad 1 team as well.
Okay.
So Medhamsh and Alan are both able to see the apps which are created by the
Squad 1 members. Yes.
Right. And they are able to push by their own keys, or again they have problems with keys.
That's a good question. I'll have to check that. But anyways, you can post your use case in the channel. I will see. But I think it's a key thing.
Right. I'm still not sure about the team thing, because what I read in tsuru was the team thing is because of the team is there to do the collaboration.
Yeah, from what Lakshmi mentioned, it sounds like team means just a role here rather than actually,
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
But Lakshmi, I think that's going to be a use case that we will have to, do it, because obviously we have more than one collaborator in a project or in a app, and obviously I think this team or however it's implemented, I think if that's the case, then it's going to be kind of a thing. So I think they should be able to, multiple people should be able to work on the project and do push and deploy on the project.
Okay, we'll have this in 4.1. I'll see what can be done, and we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just one more question. As we were talking about this, I thought when we did the other implementation, we were also talking about automatically adding users who are already there in the GitLab currently in our Projspace V1 and all. So that was one of the things, right? If someone is added to the project there, they should be added automatically here. And there was some handshake and all. So is that in place or will it be there, or how is it?
That is being resolved. As of now, it's not there. But like I said, the GitHub OAuth is happening. Like I'm able to log in using my GitHub credentials. So what I plan to do is, which I was working on today, you can use the same token and then retrieve all the info, keys, etc. from GitHub, and then create a similar setup in tsuru as well. I think that's what we want, right?
Yeah, something like that. And
that should be more done at the app level. So the API server, what it can do is it can facilitate by providing such endpoints, like there'll be an endpoint which exposes all the users in that GitHub account associated with those keys, and then the app can consume it and then issue further API calls to tsuru to create an app instance of each of these repositories, and then create a user out of each of these users in the organization, so on and so forth. But that's quite doable. It's not a total.
So Lakshmi, regarding Devrup's question of teams having access to apps, so I just read the docs, and there is an API for it. Like there is an app grant which allows team to access an application. So if you have members added to a team, unless the team is able to view that app, no one will be able to see the app. So even if we add someone to a default team, say default, let the team be default, unless they are added to a team which has an app, which has view access to an application, the members in that team won't be able to do anything. So you have basically access control, team-based access control.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Okay.
So so if we add to a default group which has no app, then we are good, because that will be like a pseudo team, which we can think of as an entry point for every new user, and then we can easily add him to respective teams which have been added to those applications. So that we'll have a sort of a abstract layer on top of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like for example, in Squad 3, there is Scouts and then Legacy and all that. So
yeah,
I think projects will map to teams.
Yeah, exactly. So what we can do is, like for example, at organization level, we can have a accelerant. We can have an accelerant team, which is a default team where everyone lands up, and then based on the actual project that they want to work on, we can name teams as per the projects, and then
it will be
add users here and there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there'll be an all-encompassing accelerant team, and then there will be a team for each squad, and then within each squad there will be a team for each project.
Exactly. So that mechanism will actually work for our use case. So everyone will be able to, we can have that GitLab based permission control.
Yes. So again, one caveat here is if I belong to say and then I create a feature branch. So by default, that'll be again a new app. Say X, okay. So I have to do an app grant of app X to Scout team
Yes.
by default.
Yes.
So that the backend should take care of that. The UI.
Yes.
So the only problem with the command line interface, why we cannot live with it comfortably is we have to remember to do.
Won't work.
Yeah, so we have to wrap it inside a plugin.
Correct.
Like how I plan to do it for this thing, the Drupal create service instance, create app, and then bind app to service instance. So we should have a shell script like create a new feature branch in Scouts. So what it will do behind the scenes is it will create an app, blah 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 blah, and then give app grant to that for the team name. So the design goal here is we should have. I mean, let's say that the UI goes down for some reason or the other. I mean, no offense, guys. We should be able to use the app using command line also, full-fledged. That's the design goal here. That's why I want to roll out a release without a UI and see how it works out.
Yeah.
So I mean, UI going down should not be a showstopper for all the developers.
Yeah, probably for the beta version or something that can be a good thing, but I mean,
not in the long run.
Yeah, of course. I mean, considering that we're looking at releasing this as a product and all those things. So just one more question. Sorry, I'm just moving on. If you guys are okay. Another question.
I have questions. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have questions written down. So Vishnu, you can go ahead. I have them written down.
Okay. Yeah, just one thing that came to my mind. Again, another thing that Tapan and everybody we were kind of very particular about working on was that logging and the messages from Projspace on the UI when somebody deploys something or things like that. So I'm just wondering where we are with those kind of logs. For example, just deployed something and it gave a set of messages, but is there alerts and notifications or those things in place, or how are we, how is that, how much of that is possible?
The backend by default it gives you a response, so it's up to the UI more to actually have it in an asynchronous manner, capture it, queue it, and then when the user refreshes the page and then show that an app has deployed, and then you have a message stream of sorts where you see what all deploys have happened in the last 10 minutes or 12 hours or whatever.
Okay.
But with the given infrastructure doable, but the UI has to take care and capture them and then put them in the...
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, Lakshmi, I think Tapan can help you probably. He can, since he's worked on the UI, we have a list of things which, needs to be done, or it needs to be, I mean, this is a great start, but I think we have a long way to go in terms of the features. No, I'm not even talking about the UI. I mean, this team thing and the other features, right? Even in through the command line, I think we have a list of features or stories or tickets in the Kirama and release. Tapan can help you identify those. So those are the things I think we have to be working on, and the next subsequent releases should be aimed at. I'm done.
Okay. I wanted to understand the difference between the pool and the team, because I really didn't see anything called pool.
What team is for people, pool is for machines.
Pool is organization, is it?
No, machines. Pool is actually
Resources.
a way to tag a set of
Resources, right?
tsuru container nodes. So pool is an entity where let's say that squad one is only assigned like so much nodes in these missions. So whatever app squad one deploys will only fall into one of these missions. So that's the
Oh, I see. I
you
see.
can
Okay.
So
you
that
can
was,
do a many mapping of pools versus teams.
Oh, I see.
that is like a tag we used to apply. The node active tag in.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I see. I'm still not so convinced about how we will implement an organization thing for a hosted product. So if someone logs in as an organization, will we have to deploy a whole different tsuru server, or will we be able to manage that namespace somehow?
Every organization will have its own cluster.
So it will be a different tsuru server altogether.
It will be different to the setup.
Okay.
There won't be one global tsuru server or anything.
Okay. So
Unless we want to go big and host and compete with Heroku, that won't be the case.
okay. So one organization, one tsuru server, and each tsuru server will have X number of teams, which belongs to that organization only.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much time does it take to deploy a tsuru server?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Then that's nice.
Just the bare tsuru server. Yeah. I mean, Maitams has written scripts to deploy tsuru in every possible infrastructure project like Chef, Ansible, CloudFormation, Terraform, everything. Yes.
But 5 minutes is like a bit of Lakshmi.
No. See, I'm only talking about the tsuru server. I'm not talking about any platform or code. It's like the mileage they give in cars, right?
Yeah.
We need to be architected in a way where we have separate Gandalf, separate
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this is under best road conditions with smooth drive and all that. To be taken with a grain of salt. Let's take a typical case where you're going on a bumpy road. Okay, you'll install like 5 platforms, create all the users of an organization, and then have everything set up in like 5 missions. Then it will take at least like half an hour to 1 hour.
Okay. I'm
Again, all these numbers are on EC2. It may vary running it on bare metal or some other cloud provider.
right. I'm not sure if this will be okay for a product, but okay, if they are the numbers, then it's fine.
No, I think the time required to set up a tsuru cluster from scratch is hardly a problem at all, because it's a one-time thing. People are going to do it only once and then forget it, because even the node auto scaling is there, and then we are going to have Ansible chef scripts for everything, scaling, adding tsuru nodes and all that. So I think it's a no-brainer.
What we did in V2 is we already had some tsuru servers hosted, and until it reached some threshold, when it reached some threshold, we already we spawned some new tsuru servers, so we could do that also.
That Lakshmi, what you are doing is just forget about everything. You are running LXC containers on nodes, right? So
Okay.
there was a limit of, we just put a random number of having 100 LXC containers per node. So when we reached 90, we used to spin another node on EC2, and then from the 101st container, we used to spin containers on that second node.
Okay, you do it on demand basis, right?
Yeah. So I mean, this is something that can be dealt or cracked, even in this case, in the space. But
Yeah, see, the idea here is we need not do bike shedding on the wrong metric. Like, we need not optimize the tsuru cluster setup. Time. It can be 1 hour and nobody's going to come in. You just go have lunch and come back and you have tsuru cluster setup. It's a one-time thing.
But what develop is interesting is like when you are giving this service to in all brand new organization. So what's the time that takes is his point, right?
Right. So if I'm owner of Google and I want to use Projspace for Google, so I sign up as an owner of Google on Projspace, and I want my systems to be ready and to be able to create projects and all.
Maybe 15 minutes I would say.
Okay. Okay. If it can be dealt with, then it's fine. I mean, I just wanted to know even if it's possible or not. Okay. That is fine. My other question, okay, so even if you are in an organization, can you have projects which are named identically? So Drupal 739, can it be created again?
No.
Okay, so that's a unique thing. What about name of the teams?
Again, no.
No, okay. All right, so one organization, one type of projects, one project name and one team name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I can.
So I've just made a note of things. I'll have to see how the team thing works out and the pool thing. That's one thing. And then I'll have to create a couple of plugins to abstract the concept of teams and run everything from command line in a full-fledged way. And then I guess we are all set for a O.1 launch.
Yeah, the plugin thing is not a priority. We will be able to fire all of them from the UI, even if it's a list for now. But the team thing is really a requirement. Will be.
No, I want to still write a plugin because we should be able to operate without the UI. Though the UI is a very mandatory thing, UI should not be a point of failure.
That's right, but I'm not sure if Ankur would be agree. So
Yeah,
again,
actually,
we could talk.
Lakshmi, any particular reason why we are, so specific about, this command line thing, and you don't want the UI to be a dependency?
Let's say that the UI goes down, people will be crippled, right? They should have something. It's like an inverter backup. That's it.
UI should never be a dependency. I agree with that. It's like it should be like a layer.
Yeah, it makes things easier. But I think the primary audience is developers, and they're comfortable with command line. Even I love to use Curamine from command line more than the UI. I mean, that's me again. But the idea here is there should not be a complete dependency on the UI. We should be able to run the show even without the UI. There is a very good chance that the UI may go down. We cannot completely deny or factor that out.
But here the product itself is UI, Lakshmi, because Tsuru has built all the things already, and what we are going to market is the UI, right?
No, we are not marketing the UI. We are doing stateful apps. That is one major change or deviation from Tsuru. The other thing is we definitely need a UI. I'm in for it. But the thing is, we should not entirely bank on the UI. That's my 2 cents. Because the UI is another app hosted in your Tsuru cluster, right?
Lakshmi, do you mean to say that an admin should be still able to function even if the UI end users are not seeing a UI?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you mean to say that an admin of a organization who has Tsuru server access can be still able to do operations even if not from UI?
Yes, I mean whatever I showed you in the demo, I never used the UI, right?
Not just admin, any dev.
Anyone. Okay.
Even a non-admin should be able to. I mean, we should be able to create users from scratch, and then they should be able to deploy an app. All this without the UI.
Because the main feature request. Command line was needed. So it's like two parallel things. We do command line and have a UI layer on top of it for every operation.
The other thing why command line is a mandate is because if you want to do continuous integration tomorrow, you can do it entirely from the command line without the UI.
Okay. But I'm not sure we should consult the client. Ankur here.
But I think both are essential depending on the user. But I think
No. See, guys, UI without UI nobody will buy your product. I'm very
that's
confident.
true. So
Okay, but again, if your UI fails and I'm not able to deploy an app, what is the core thing about this? I want to quickly deploy and then use it across.
Yeah, that's the thing, right, Lakshmi? I mean, see, I am a user or I'm an organization, I buy this product or something. The moment the UI fails, for me, the product fails. I wouldn't go, I mean, that's what, I understand that, you can still go ahead to the command line and then do it, but I wouldn't want to. I mean,
Yeah, that's correct, but the problem is not give guarantees about anything. Right? Let's say that there is a performance issue in the UI, okay, or something happens, okay. So let's say that the pool in which your UI application is running or the tsuru container node where your UI is running, it goes down. Then you are all in soup, right? Somebody should be able to still run it from a command line and then go see what the problem is, rectify it, and then boot it up. That's why I am insisting on having a fallback command line thing.
yeah, but I would still consider it only as a fallback, not really as,
Nobody is going to use the command line. Almost nobody is going to use the command line if the UI is there.
Yeah, anyway, I think, that's fine. I mean, as you said, if the fallback is there and if it's robust, I think that's not going to be any harm, so that's fine.
All I'm doing is I'm pushing the UI development by 15 days. That's
That's fine.
so the case is rested.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
No, I think I'm okay.
So Lakshmi, just one request. So can we have what we want to release in by end of October? Can we have that listed? Is it listed somewhere? What features?
No, it's not listed anywhere. It's just listed in my notes. That's it. I'll just post it in the chat.
All right. Yeah.
Metams, the other thing is, let us say that an app is deployed in two separate tsuru nodes. Let's say I scale a Drupal app, and then it adds another unit in a different node. I have to have my mount point synced across both these nodes. That's where I need ECS or Lizard. We have not tried that use case yet because we have not hit that cap yet. Should we address this in a later version?
Yeah, let's put that aside.
But that's not a problem. It's a solved thing. It's just that I'm not tested it.
Yes, sure.
So, guys, so what's the plan here? I mean, I'm kind of out of Projspace for a long time, so I know Ankur earlier had given some priorities on the tickets on what the features he wants to see in the next subsequent releases and all. So you mentioned fortnightly release, right, Lakshmi?
Yeah. So the idea here is Ankur wants some followed by end of October. So that's why I called in for a release as soon as possible with whatever we have. I mean, if you have released the product too late, if you're not embarrassed by your first release, then you released it too late, like Reid Hoffman said. So the thing here is we release with whatever we have. I think this is a very MMVC, okay, but it just does job. You can deploy across an organization, which is what the core essence of the product is. So after this, we'll keep on adding new features and we'll have frequent release. The idea here is to get it out and ship it as soon as possible. And then then only people will start using it. There'll be enough eyeballs, and then the project will iterate towards stability. I mean, just to give you guys an example here, I don't want to drag this. Before like 5 or 6 years ago, Google Chrome was nowhere in the radar. I think Firefox was having the lion's share of the market. So what Google Chrome guys did was they had a release almost every week. So faster iteration actually beats the quality of iteration. That's the takeaway. That's what I want to practice for Projspace.
Plus one, I'll be happy, and I'm sure Ankur will be happy as well.
Now, I'll just share that blog post with you guys. It's called Boyle's Law of Iteration, where the quality of iteration is being beaten by intensity of iteration.
So, do you mean quality is going down because we are deploying very soon?
No. See, quality has nothing to do with your speed of iteration.
Okay.
Just because we are iterating speed, it's not an excuse to add more bugs
Right.
or release a poor quality product.
No, but that's usually the case, right?
No. That's not.
I think basically roll out features as soon as possible.
Yeah, so just take a date, like the next release will be after 15 days, and then take a reasonable amount of features what we'll be able to do, and then release it, and then issue a change log, and again release, rinse and repeat these steps. I think that should be the way we go about it. If we follow a semi-waterfall model, then we'll all lose track. We won't know where we started, what is the priority. The idea is to just keep on shipping, and then we'll iterate towards a stable version pretty sooner than what we do in the other way. I mean, maybe I'm not expressing it the right way, but I'll share the article with you guys. You can judge it for yourself.
Yeah, that's fine. But just one thing that we saw in the last time is since you guys are distributed and the time there is difference in time in which you contribute and all. I think it's better to have some kind of a plan as well. So, I mean, as whatever small amount of number of features that you plan for the next release or whatever, but still, I think it's better to have it and track it.
Fair enough. So what we'll do is we'll have a sprint model of sorts where we'll put up what our tickets will be pushing the sprint, and then we'll work towards it, and then have a sprint retro, and then a sprint planning meeting, like how we do our Monday calls, and then a demo to all the stakeholders. Does this work?
Yeah.
So as a start, let me list down what all we will be shipping in 0.1, and then we'll set a date on stone and then work for it.
Cool. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay, we'll wind this up.
Cool. Thanks, Lakshmi. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your time. Amir, I hope you've recorded this.
Yeah, I recorded the whole thing.
Cool, awesome.
So where do I now the important question? Where do I share it?
YouTube.
Oh yeah, but on my channel or on your channel?
We'll all like it, man. Post it public.
All right. Sure.
Yeah. Cool, Lakshmi. Thanks, man. You can go back to your daughter now. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye. Thank you.
Good night.